I love your books, but I found lots of errors while I was reading them. Let me help you proofread and fix these problems. That is a common question, or common comment, I should say. In fact, I just got one the other day. And I appreciate where this comes from, honestly. That's a hugely helpful impulse to see a problem and to look at the way that you can possibly solve it. I admire that. And so I usually try and respond when somebody reaches out to me and tells me about errors. In a lot of cases, I file them away in case I do another edition of the book in the future. The issue with this, yes, there are errors in my books. I guarantee it. I know it for a fact. I found them in many cases months after I've published the books. What happens in those cases? My books go through three phases of editing. If it's a short book, they're shorter phases. If it's a long book, they're longer phases. So, for example, right now, Starling Southern Watch #6 is going through editing. It's been done on my end for about 2 months, but it took my editor about a month to crawl through it from start to finish and try and find errors and then change any parts of the text that are unclear. So that's phase one of editing after I've already combed over it myself once the first draft is complete. Then I have a second editor proofer look it over and try and find additional instances of, hey, this phrasing doesn't work, and also errors. So that's 2 phases. And then usually it goes through a third proofer in order to try and get all those last nagging errors out. Now, this does not, unfortunately, fix everything. I mean, errors will still climb into the work regardless. Sometimes it's because they recommend a fix and I try and implement it and I fat finger the keyboard and, oops, I've just inserted a new error into my work where there was none before. And then sometimes it's just your eye skips over a word and you don't notice it. It's easier to see that on an e-reader, I assure you, than it is on a computer screen. But the problem with it is if I want to try and have one more person, you, for instance, person who has kindly volunteered to help me, go over that, here's what happens is that we add another phase of editing. And the problem with that last phase of editing is I have at that point gone through the book on the first draft when I wrote it. I go through the book a second time because I do an edit before I send it to my editor. A third time once she sends it back to me. A fourth time once my secondary editor proofer goes through it. And then a fifth time once that last proofer goes through it. By this time, I don't ever want to see that damn book again. Ever. I hate the book by that point, and I just want to throw it out a window. And so editing is tough on me. And with the schedule I keep, there's a point of diminishing returns that I found a while back where I say, you know what, 5 is about as good as I can get and as much as I can handle. Because in a lot of cases, what turns up in that 6th round of editing, I used to do it, creates more errors on my part because I'm so eager to get through the damn thing. Just being real frank here, that I'm like, I don't care, just whatever. So anyway, as much as I appreciate the offer of help, adding another phase of editing would make my sanity diminish in an unfavorable way, and also add time to the production schedule. And I mean, it's kind of a toss-up as to which of those is more difficult. I don't run the kind of press, unfortunately, where I can take long delays. I mean, people have been waiting for Southern Watch for a year and a half. They've only been waiting for 2 months for the next out-of-the-box book, and they're already sitting with pitchforks at my gate, castle gates, ready to burn the place down. So it's one of those things where I have to draw the line between my sanity and adding that extra phase of editing to hopefully get a few more errors out. It's kind of a toss-up. I've probably gotten 60, 70 complaints over the course of my writing career, which is 7 years now. So about 1 a month versus I've sold over 1 million books. And so, again, it's a question of diminishing returns. Should I spend that extra week or whatever it is crawling through the manuscript one more time when someone gives me editorial guidance so that I make sure that they don't change anything absolutely vital? And I can't bring myself to want to do it. I just can't. Not one more time. And so, again, I appreciate the offer. I appreciate the offer of help. But, I mean, I can't do it. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Not one more time. So